lucky day because Arlington House is open, but I also wanted to let you know we're collaborating today with History Underground. And you might know JD because he has a lot of great videos, especially about World War II. He goes to a lot of great places on location, and very cool.
I want to be clear about something. This is a camera bag. This is not a man purse that I'm carrying. So, just in case anybody's confused.
We're having a great day. So we're going to go to Lee House. So remember, Lee House is Robert E. Lee's home. It's inherited through his wife, who's a descendant of George Washington. This is a plantation, though. This is a house. They have a great location right in the Potomac. But when the Civil War breaks out, Lee is gone. Mary's here by herself. Now she gets warned by people who are sympathetic that they're coming for your house. So she packs up as much as she can. She gets out about 2 days before the Union Army gets here. Her enslaved people pack up as much as they can, and they save a lot of heirlooms of George Washington we still have today. This location was such a prime location that when young men started to die during the Civil War, they started to bury them here. They were looking for locations to bury the wounded, the people who had died during the Civil War, and this was such a prime location, a big location, and people who were very upset with Lee, who had gone to school with Lee at West Point and just really couldn't forgive him for turning his back on their country, decided they were going to bury the dead here because they felt he was responsible for those men dying. And they did it. Mary Custis' favorite place here in Arlington at Lee House was her garden. So the first place they started burying men were in her garden. So that way she could never look out on her garden and have a nice view again. So if you're wondering how Arlington got started, this is its start. But we're allowed to go in the house today, so let's go check it out. This is when you first walk in to Arlington House, and you can see the family paintings. That looks like Martha Washington. It's like George Washington. Some more. It's Washington, young Washington, older Washington. And some more family. How neat is that? Robert E. Lee and Mary Custis were married in this room. So this is the first room as you walk into Arlington House. June 30th, 1830, and their wedding joined two prominent families of Virginia. Because you think of General Lee from the Revolutionary War, Mary Custis Lee, she's a direct relation to George Washington. The Marquis de Lafayette visited Arlington in the 1820s. And he tried to convince George Washington Parke Custis to stop relying on enslaved labor at Arlington, because this was a enslaved plantation. So this says that this was furnished in 1855, and a lot of this furniture was the West Point superintendent's furniture. So Robert E. Lee goes to West Point. Served the U.S. Army for 32 years. So the morning room. Mary Custis Lee, George Washington Parker Custis' daughter. She was painting in this room when she heard the Union troops were going to seize Arlington the next day. So the desk here is where General Ford, President Gerald Ford, sits to pardon Lee in 1975. So that's interesting. And this is the room where Robert E. Lee rejected President Lincoln's offer of command. And he wrote, "I am unable to make up my mind to raise my hand against my native state, my relations, my children, and my home." And he knew his wife and children would soon be forced to flee their beloved Arlington. So they have Selma Gray right here. They don't really tell her story in here, but this is Mary Custis Lee's enslaved woman, and she's the one who saves George Washington's artifacts from this house. So this is the only known picture of her, but she's here. So Selina Gray is born into slavery. She's an enslaved woman here at the house. Mary Custis Lee has fled, and Selina Gray decides to save George Washington's tent. So the two tents that are at the American Revolution Museum and Yorktown, George Washington's campaign tent and George Washington's personal tent, are because of Selina Gray. She saves those tents. And nowadays they're considered, you know, national heirlooms, but they're the biggest artifacts at Yorktown and at the American Revolution Museum. And if we're going to talk about Selina Gray, then let's talk about how Selina Gray lived. So these are the South Slave Quarters, open at Arlington House. It's right behind Arlington House, and we're going to come inside. So Selina Gray was actually married. She's married in the same room where Robert Lee marries Mary Custis, and this is where she raises her family. Selina Gray, it's her husband, her daughter. I see the kid. And we're gonna do a video about the women who serve. So
yeah, been here a few times, but I don't know, you could come to Arlington 40 times and still have things to see here. So yeah.
It's pretty awesome. We had planned to do something else today, but it didn't quite work out, so we just pivoted. And it's always good to talk about women, especially women of service. Collaboration between Walk with History and History Underground.
Exciting.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.